Word. Well, sir, unless there's anything else, shall we get into the main event? Do we need to wrangle in somebody
Yeah,
else?
yeah.
We
Let's
we have a
let's
special guest.
yeah. Our first ever guest on the show, and that is the creator of the Distorted Reality and Fright Fest Theater and Fright Fest Theater Pod. Uh, my dear brother Chandler is joining us to talk about the movies from the past week that we did get to see, and the general shenanigans that are afoot whenever you watch movies like Don't Go Into the Woods Alone, also known as Alone exclamation point, don't go into the woods because that makes sense. So, welcome
Um,
Chandler.
Well, it's good to be here. Um,
Yeah.
hey. All
I
right,
was I was
good.
trying to get the sound effect of me cracking my first beer of the evening open over the
Uh,
a la Joe Bob, but it can't. It just didn't happen. I don't have the same flair he does. Um, no, it is a pleasure to be here. I had no idea I was y'all's first guest. That's I feel
yeah,
like the
we're
pressure's on here.
we're we're pretty reclusive. Our
Well,
Everybody
guests
wants to
our
go to the
guests are in
projection booth.
chat.
well, we haven't had a guest on Fright Fest Theater yet either. So I might just have to return the favor, and we might have to punk rock it up a little bit.
I was telling Gabe I was listening to the scary movie episode and I was like, shame on all of you for not remembering Chris Elliott's name.
Yeah, we we kind of threw that episode together really quickly. I don't know if that came off that way, and then we threw it together super quickly, recorded it super quickly, and then it was released like it had more prep time than any episode that we've done. I think it was released like a month uh, later than it was supposed to be. Just it's one of those things that was supposed to be a Scream ranking the franchise episode, and it didn't happen, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Instead, we all got juiced up and watched Scary Movie, which I can't really, you know,
That's
there's
not a
worse
bad,
ways to spend an
yeah.
evening.
All right. Well, let's get into it with the movies that played the past week. We started things off, well, we saw Straw Dogs after the show. And to be honest, that was a blur. That was a blur because that's literally the furthest from my memory.
Well, I'll say this: that was the most disturbed I've been watching a movie thus far this year. I don't think it'll get worse than that this year. I don't think so anyway.
I hope not.
But the main starting event for the week was on Friday where we had a solid 4 movie block of Psycho. Now, that night was my buddy's birthday, so I was drinking and eating wings, but I had the movies on and I was peering in. Now we started with the 1998. Now, this movie clearly has the stigma that it has, but all I really remembered from it was Anne Hesh and that the movie existed and that the general consensus is that the movie shouldn't exist. But I completely forgot about so much shit. And I kept looking over, and at first off, I was like, "Is that fucking Vince Vaughn as fucking Norman?" And I was like, "Hold up, that's a game changer. Why is everybody immediately shutting the door on this? Hold the fuck up." I mean, I'm with you that the reasons why this movie was made were not good, but let's not pass up seeing a good fucking Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates here. All right, that interested me. um. But every time I looked over, okay, who did we see? We had Julianne Moore We had our boy Vigo, fucking William H. Macy, fucking our dude, fucking Philip Barker Hall. Fucking dude, this was a star-studded event.
And
It's not necessarily. Go ahead.
I could be wrong, but I think Tom Hanks' wife, I cannot remember her name.
Yeah.
She does the cameo.
Rita Wilson.
Yeah, she had a cameo as the office, the other assistant in the finance office. At the beginning. So it was just everywhere you turn. And then James Remar is the state trooper.
Also another rare, a rare but yet an abundant sighting of Flea. Flea was in the movie.
I forgot about Flea again. He's Bob wearing a Ricky shirt.
Now, yeah, that messed with me a little bit.
Now, I almost hate to admit this. Now I noticed this when I was watching the original Psycho. But of course, you know, if it holds true in that, it holds true in the 98 one as well. But I don't know if the dabs were hitting particularly right that evening. And I don't know how I avoided hearing this, reading this, somebody telling me this throughout the course of my life. But I'm sitting there and I'm baking. And then I noticed that one of the characters' names is Sam Loomis, and a wheel starts spinning. And I'm like, hold the fuck up. And I'm like, wait a minute, is it like Dr. Samuel Loomis? And I was like, shut the fuck up. It was like a little like nod to that. I had no idea. Like I said, I'm almost embarrassed to admit that, but I'm glad that I stumbled upon it in a natural way and not just like read it. You know what I mean?
Your realization there is in the same vein as when you realize Ghostwatch was a live TV broadcast.
It went from the worst thing I've ever seen to one of the best.
Yeah. And I appreciate John Carpenter going back and showing homage to Psycho that way because the name is cool. So, yeah, there you go. Sam Loomis.
Well, then you got, like, not to go down a Halloween rabbit hole, or a rabbit and red hole, as it were. But I think it's really cool because if you really think about, everybody's like, well, Psycho's not a slasher movie. Well, fuck, Halloween isn't really a slasher movie either. So it's
true.
definitely, they're very similar stylistically. Like they're suspense movies, except you know, Psycho's more of a psychological thriller than Halloween is, but whatever.
When I was watching the original, I was laughing with the wife where I was like, you know, I wish I could have gone back in time to 1960 to where when this was like originally, you know, like, cause I'm like, I feel like I would have called this shit like way early because there's a particular scene that is very disturbing and it's only really particularly disturbing to me and maybe like 2% of people. But we know from the beginning of the movie that it's like a week or two, maybe like mid-December, because it tells you the month and shit in the movie. So it's December in Arizona. And Norman's sitting outside eating candy corn. That is not the actions of a rash, insane man. That right there would have been like, he's the fucking killer right there. Nobody like joyfully eats candy corn like that.
What a psycho.
And it not be October, all right?
And think of and flash forward, 50-ish years later, and Mountain Dew did a candy corn flavored Mountain Dew.
Oh.
Like, what sort of psychopath?
But
it's like
that.
If they would have said in the middle of December,
if they would have said it was October, I'd been like, all right, fuck it, we've all eaten candy corn in October in a pinch because there's nothing fucking else because everybody takes all the other shit because nobody else wants to fuck candy corn. But it's the middle of December, all right? Like
I,
where are you even getting this candy corn?
as I sit here and think about it too, how nonchalantly are you just wearing flannel outside in December at night in Arizona when it's probably fucking cold?
Telling you,
Cold.
there's a lot about that Norman fella that ain't right.
He did have a tactical turtleneck on.
Well, you got to keep one of those on hand at all times.
I did not that it bothered me at all, but I just thought it was funny. Uh, there's the moment at the end, kind of when they're in the police station, and the one guy's kind of breaking down the situation because it's like in 1960 there's a lot of dum-dums, so it's like, okay, this is why him being the mother makes sense. All right, we got to have this whole thing in the movie.
The 1960 exposition, I think is what I called that.
But I like when he's using what by today's standard would be considered dangerous dialogue to describe Norman.
Oh, man.
Like I like that he makes the distinction. Like he's like, no, this isn't anything sexual. You know? But of course then the fucking TV show I think would fuck that up
Yeah,
way
it's
later.
non-canon.
But
Psycho 4 would too.
but you know, I thought it was funny that he made the distinction where I'm just like, who would have thought fucking 50, 60 years from now he'd be like, man, I'm glad that we fucking threw that line in. Dodged a bullet. We can still keep it in the archive.
I would have thought Hitchcock would be PC about something, you know. Like,
After watching Frenzy, I'm wondering how he was PC about anything.
jeez, you have to talk about a tough watch.
That
Wow.
I liked the those little moments though where I was just like fucking Hitchcock. Like when the one fucking the private detective guy fucking goes to the house and fucking gets the knife to the face and shit. And then it like has that weird fucking looking as he's falling backwards kind of shot. And I'm just like, I'm just imagining, you know, Hitchcock's like, this out of breath fat guy. He's like, I want it to make it look like it's falling without him actually falling.
You know, that for me, that scene, that's the scene of the movie for me. I know everybody's like, oh, the shower scene, and shower scene is iconic. It's probably one of the most iconic shots in horror besides Frankenstein's monster turning around in 1931. But that is the most at that point in my life, I had not watched many horror movies. This was one of the first ones that like R-rated horror movies that I'd watched. That scared the shit out of me when he comes out of that bedroom, and it's just like, oh shit! And he stabs him in the face, and they show that in 1960, and you're like, okay, so this is what we're doing now.
I
And
agree.
there's like a 1 second delay on the music too when he comes out of the room. So it's like your eyes are already paying attention, and the music hasn't even told you to be scared yet, but you're fucking scared.
It's true. I would agree that that's probably like the most jarring scene of the whole movie, just because it's so stylistically different. Like it very much like it stands out. It does definitely get overlooked because of the whole fame of the shower scene. Which, you know what? I'm not saying this just to say it. I don't like the shower scene. No, I mean, there's nothing like that I overly hate about it or anything like that. It's fine. It's fine. But and I understand it was 1960, but I think she overacted.
She might
Like
have.
particular I understand the cinematic appeal of her with the hand out on the curtain, and the dramatic slow, and then the fall with the curtain. But like, I understand the cinematic aspects of it all, but I'm like, you know what? That's like even fucking Norman would snap out of it for 2 seconds and be like, man, what an over dramatic bitch.
Do better. I I like the top of the stair scene with its Metal Gear camera angle that it's got. But honestly, one of the better scares I think is the reveal of the mother at the end too. That's pretty damn horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'd have loved it. I'm with Ian, what he said earlier. I'd have loved to have been in the theater in 1960, and just when they spin that chair around, and then you realize, okay, the mother's dead, and some people would still be like, well, who's the killer? And then like here he comes running in. That would have just, oh man, I would have loved to have seen that. Like just the reaction.
Let me clutch my pearls. Oh my god.
Now as we moved on to Psycho 2, I kind of thought it was interesting where I'm just like, this is a sequel that was made like 20 plus years after the original, but we're only in 1982. And I'm just like, it's kind of this is like way ahead of its time by today's standards.
It's like the first Legacy sequel.
Yeah. But I dug the whole like court scene, like him getting out, like that makes sense. And had the one lady fucking bitching. Although her just fucking running up to him and yelling at him afterwards, I'm like, yeah, that would never fucking happen. They would never allow that to happen. But that was the only thing where like I was watching it with the wife and I'm just like, how is this house still his? Like how is any of this okay? Why is everybody okay with him going back there?
Yeah.
If it's clearly a case of insanity, why would you willingly say, go ahead and stay at the most triggering place you could possibly stay at?
I have the meta answer for it.
Okay.
Because we haven't taken mental health seriously in this country since recent years. So they thought, fuck it, why not? He'll be fine.
Is this why is all the crazies of today, was that the beginning of it was Psycho 2?
Psycho 2 should have been a jumping off point where maybe we should have started taking things serious, but then they were like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Now the movie, I really was wanting to dig this movie, and I didn't hate it. I like the idea of the movie. Because really, when like at the core of it, like if you were to try to take a serious angle at it, like you got to look at Norman like Norman did all these crazy, horrific things, but at the end of the day, he really is the victim. He's a victim as well. He's just acting out. But
But Norman didn't do anything. It was all Mother.
but it's like, so having the angle where it's like, okay, let's put him there and like have the whole movie be about him riding that line between about to break and just barely getting I'm like, I like that as a concept. It just wasn't as entertaining. Like it just felt like, I'm like, this is, particularly at the diner when he has his like little fit and everything, and I'm like, this is like working with the fucking emo kid. And I was like somebody he doesn't like from school shows up at the work, and he has a moment. Unfortunately, that person from school was fucking the dude from the cop from NYPD Blue.
Jeez, that guy.
With the most widest ass I've ever seen, unfortunately.
I'll look after your hotel for you if you let me see you. If you let me show you my ass. There. It took forever to get that joke out, and it's because it's as ridiculous as Dennis Franz is as a person, I think.
One thing I do like about the movie, though, is the last 30 minutes of it are a damn roller coaster ride because there's so many twists.
Mm.
And really, Norman only kills one person the whole movie, which
I
is crazy.
I couldn't get past all of the level of cringe that was coming off of him in the beginning when he's just trying to talk to that girl he works with. No, I thought you were gonna stay at my place. No, like I've never that was like fucking The Office levels of embarrassing to watch.
Yeah,
I'm just
he
like I'm like, dude, no means no. Why don't
but
you
it wasn't funny in a Michael Scott way. It
This
was
is
just
true.
creepy.
Yeah, he was like, come stay at my creepy hotel where I murdered people. I love when before he decides to move her up to the house when he was just gonna give her a room. I do like that his hand kind of pauses over the room 1 key, and he kind of like, no.
I think, and this was my case too with the Psycho sequels. The more you watch them, the better they're gonna get, because some of that stuff you'll start to kind of overlook and just go with the flow of it. That's what we figured out this year with Psycho 3 in particular. But 2 is, other than that cringe level is off the charts. There's some solid ideas there, and I think some nice little callbacks too.
I don't know why, but it was like I was getting these weird, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, but that girl that was like he kept trying to get to stay at the house, like she seemed like this weird mix of Liza Minnelli around like Arthur era mixed in with what's her name, the chick from The Shining, Shelley Duvall.
You know who it was, right? That's the bride of Chucky. It was Miss Meg Tilly playing that character.
Yeah, let's make.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
No way that was her. No way.
You got to see it twice in one episode, Chandler.
What?
Now the movie is better than it was prior.
Okay, that can blow your mind with another crazy fact. This is from the first one, but I got to do it now because it's like. So the car Janet Leigh drives in Psycho is the exact same car that she drives in Halloween H2O, and it even has the same exact fucking license plate.
See, it all comes back around.
Even though, obviously, it
Christ.
was in the swamp, at the end. Of it. But yeah, that is Meg Tilly, and then her mother in the movie is Vera Miles, the same actress who plays the same character that spins the mother around at the end of the first one. So it's the same exact. So they did a good job recasting the movie for sure.
Cool. Well, I have learned something.
Makes it a
Unfortunately,
little better.
unfortunately, I did not make it to Psycho 3. So I don't know what happens in that one. I don't know what happens to our dear friend Norman. I assume that there is a Psycho 3 means that he made it out of the events of 2.
Won't spoil 3 for you, because it is worth a watch. But
It's a straight up
a,
slasher.
it's a slasher. It's up our alley.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
trashy too.
Jeff Fahey is like on-screen trash the whole time, and it's great.
You know when Chet from Weird Science, Bill Paxton, turns into that glob? That's what Jeff Fahey is in this movie the whole time. Except he just doesn't look like that.
All
He's
right.
metaphorical glob.
The next night, we started things off with The Drive-In Massacre. Now, this was an interesting movie because I'm like, this is a fucking movie. All right. Like, this is everything cliche, like simple cliche about movies is in this goddamn movie. Right down to the look of it, man. This looks like I should have been watching this on like this is real to real.
It's
Like
a shame we couldn't get a 35. Or I'm sorry, there's no way they afforded 35.
I
No,
feel
16 millimeter.
all that was missing was the hum of the light and the clacking of the spinning wheels. That's all that this was missing. Everybody all out community theater fucking acting at its finest. And I loved every woman who screams in this movie fucking they give it their all.
Way better than it had any right to be. That's for sure.
And it had a Buck Flower appearance out of
There
nowhere.
you go. Hey, there you go. Bug flowers.
And you know what though? I gotta give the movie props because the 74-minute horror movie gets you in and out, lickety split. There's no bullshit. It's all cool shit.
After
It only
that,
went downhill from there.
yeah, after that we played the
Wow.
Toolbox Murders. Now, is this where we made the Return of Sleaze? Was this movie? Our Cameron Mitchell fucking movie here.
Yeah, I have
We-
reclaimed my title.
The King of Sleaze.
It's pretty
I
damn
have-
sleazy.
And you know what? In honor of that one, you get a Cameron Mitchell.
Close the fucking.
Okay.
Now, the thing that was fucking me up with this movie is the
Everything?
fucking the one dude. Now it's not him, but I imagine that this dude, his entire career was made off of this fact, and he got asked this everywhere he fucking went. But I'm like, this dude looks so much like Greg Brady.
I said, did he walk
Yes.
off of the Brady Bunch set?
I was like, who's this Donny Osmond look-alike here?
Yeah, it was insane. It was just throwing me off left and right. I'm like, it's Greg Brady. But no, it was Wesley Eure. I'm no Yuri. I don't know. There you go.
After his film career died down, he doubled as Greg Brady to open car dealerships.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, that
I
tracks.
imagine that dude went around and did some like car dealership type shit, like just saying that he was Greg Brady, and nobody thought the wiser.
The
No,
baby
those-
blues were on point,
Did,
though.
did anybody fucking background check him? And then there's like, did you see him?
The proof is in the pudding, as they
Yeah.
say. Jesus.
See if he can throw a football.
But so one of the things that I remember other than the fucking glaring Greg Brady thing is like now there's what was it? It was like a sister that was kidnapped, I think.
Yeah, the
Somebody
blonde dude's sister.
now,
Scarface's sister.
and that's the chick that's sitting on the bed like the whole time, just kind of like tied up. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's sad that all I really have to go off of are scenes of her in this type of duress. But I'm like, you know, it's not a bad looking it's not a bad looking chick. I mean, you know, I'm just saying, if you're gonna be a criminal, like at least this one's got taste. You know what I mean? Like she's an attractive looking woman. But I think the best part was the look in her eyes when fucking Greg Brady dude walks into the room. And like, first off, I don't know how Cameron Mitchell didn't notice that he came into the room. Like he was like standing behind him for like a minute.
He was probably drunk. That's why.
fair enough.
Yeah, just drunk on and off the set the whole time.
But he gets rid of Cameron Mitchell, and then the girl's just like, "Oh, thank God!" But then he was just like, "No, bitch, time for payment," you know. And it was just like she was like, "Oh God, no."
And as if it couldn't have gotten any worse. So Cameron Mitchell just to recap the batshit story that the Toolbox Murders is, Cameron Mitchell kidnaps her because his daughter died in a car crash at the beginning. That's what that weird jump cut shit was at the beginning. And therefore replaces a family member. So the nephew, he did some Roll Tide shit.
Now, the next movie was fucking The Driller Killer. Now, this is kind of like a blur, where things started to blur that night, because I know in Toolbox Murders there was an awful lot of drill usage. Which,
Nail gun,
makes
too.
which makes sense why they would be played back to back. Fucking Tim Allen would be fucking but that's where it's just like, I'm like, there were probably a lot of murders that were in Toolbox Murders that I think were in the other movie, and vice versa. Because I'm just like, it's just a lot of drills. It's a lot of drills. Too many drills.
Yeah, and I didn't plan it that way because of the drills and the tools. Honestly, on a night like that, when it's just a smudge podge of random slasher movies, and in this case, like pre-slasher era slasher movies, I just go by the year they come out. I go by and then if it's the same year, I go by release date. So it just kind of panned out that way. But Driller Killer is a jumbled mess, to say the least.
But then now I'm not skipping over these two, but Don't Go in the House and then Bloody Moon. I was orbiting Saturn by that point. So I know that they were on. What happened, I don't know.
So, and I'll let Gabriel fill in the gaps for me a little bit. So our power was out. Some of you may know that. Ian knows that firsthand. But our power was out due to the hurricane, and in the middle of this movie, we were over at a friend's house, and because he had a generator, his power was out too. His cousin, who we went to high school with and haven't seen in a couple of years, just happens to come over, and we're trying to watch the movie and listen to his drunken antics at the same time. And it just somebody that came in split an edible with their girlfriend and became giggle boxes, and it ballooned from there.
At times, it was more entertaining than the movie, but that's not to say that Don't Go Into the House was bad. It was Psycho and Maniac blended together.
Psycho with a flamethrower. Yeah, I think that's what we synopsis we came up with.
That was the flamethrower one with the fucking, where the dude was like, he was burned by his mom or something.
Yep, with his hands over the stove.
Okay, yeah. I vaguely remember that.
We'll give that one a rewatch because it was pretty brutal, and I kind of want to fill in the gaps that I missed myself. But
okay,
yeah,
I remember when you said flamethrower, that was the key word.
It's lit.
Nice.
Went full blown Rick Dalton.
Now, let's see. Class Reunion was the one that we weren't able to watch, and let's see here. We didn't.
Oh, Bloody Moon.
Sorority Sunday. Bloody Moon. Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Did not know that this was going to happen because it happened in the Prey. There's animal violence in it too. They pulled a Friday the 13th and killed a snake on camera.
They did. And a Bloody Moon, though, extremely gory. I was not expecting it to be as gory as it was.
Thank you, Jesus Franco.
Now, the other movies that weren't the late night ones, like the Sunday movies, those are the ones that didn't get shown, right?
Yeah.
Sorority
Sunday.
Sorority Sunday. Okay, yeah. House on Sorority. Okay.
My favorite slasher week day. We always do it every year, and it didn't happen. But can I make a slight announcement here?
Go for it.
we're going to we postponed it. We did not cancel it. So the
Right,
first week
yeah.
of November, at some point, the first week of November, we will have a sorority something or other. I don't know what day it'll be, but we haven't figured that out yet. But we are going to make that up for sure.
Sorority
Uh,
surprise mixer.
there
There we
you
go.
go. But then we were back on Monday with The Slayer. Now, um, the main two things that I remember from this movie was there was a woman that had big fucking Peggy Bundy style red hair.
Mm.
And then there was I remember some body being hung, not by like the neck like a noose situation, but being hung in some fashion, and it was bloody, and it also looked like it was moldy.
That was the poofy haired chick's boyfriend, who was
Okay.
who was the, who was the first of the main cast to go, and it was Gabriel. Did he crawled up in like in the attic of something, and then the killer shuts the door on him, I think maybe,
Something
and
like
so his
that.
like torso's just hanging out. Like, you don't really see what the killer does to him.
Which is a shame because I get flashbacks to Stage Fright where you think they're not going to show what happens, and then chainsaw to the guts happens.
Man, what a ballsy movie.
Now the other movie that played that night was The Prey. Now, did we watch this one before?
So when
Because
we
like
did,
I was watching this and I'm like, there's some shit in here that I'm like, I've seen this before.
it followed Nightmare Beach on our original 24-hour marathon, and that was when I made my Rats Night of Terror comment. That was the same marathon. We did the theatrical cut of The Prey, which now in hindsight, okay, I do not necessarily like the composite cut or by way the international cut because they contain a lot of the same footage. But Chandler made the observation during the movie that we probably should have just done the 83-minute cut because it's shorter.
Oh, it's just 80 minutes.
Or 80 minutes, I'm sorry. They were in the sweet spot. They were at the 80-minute mark. We watched the 80-minute cut, and we had no fucking clue what was going on in the movie. I remember that distinctly, that me and you, Ian, were like, did anything actually happen? What was the plot? And we tried to figure it out, and we couldn't.
Is this the one where they kept cutting in all the fucking National Geographic shit?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Because like the main thing that I remembered, like when I saw it, where I was like, I think we've watched this before, was the cliff climbing scene
Yeah.
where he cuts the rope. And I'm like, because I'm like, I've seen this, but I'm like, okay. And then the dude with the cotter fro and the chick in the sleeping bag.
God,
Welcome back.
No,
But
but like I remember, I'm like, you know, I remember the movie not being spectacular, but at the same time, I'm like, there was some familiarity, so there was some comfort there.
I think with the
member berries.
Yeah,
I remember the they call it the gypsy footage because it was supposed to be the gypsy camp.
Mhm.
And so if you watch the 80-minute cut, you don't get any of that. Therefore, you have no idea what the monster is about. This, even the composite cut, and I think the international cut is more of that footage, it has too much story. There's too much plot getting in the way of the story at that point. This needs to be about 80, maybe that's why I said 83 minutes. This needs to be like 83, 85 minutes of some of that footage just so you have a little bit of an idea of what's going on. I didn't need the borderline orgy scene in it. Although the guy did do the Atkins diet move and went straight for the boob, so good for him. You know, I'd be okay I'd be okay if we had like 3 to 5 minutes of that footage to give us a little context, and then throw us back in and maybe cut out a little bit of that National Geographic footage because I didn't need to see a snake eat a rat. But you know, we had options there. Instead, there was a lot of scenery being chewed. A lot.
Did they? I forget, but did they pull a Tammy and the T-Rex and like there was an actual like forest fire or something going on, and they're like, "Oh fuck, we can use this. Film
Absolutely, they did.
it."
Saves on budget.
For this movie, it worked out. It was convenient for Tammy and the T-Rex. They're like, "Fuck it, we'll film around it." Just don't kick us out. Here's some money under the table. Let us do our job.
They apparently paid Jonathan Taylor Thomas to use Wild America footage. I'm just kidding. Like, it was just
Fair.
All right. And then so then there was the movies last night, which not gonna lie, the stomach got me. The stomach got me. So there was a lot of coming and going, and I didn't get a lot of what was going on. So you boys want to tell me the fantasticness of last night?
so don't go in the woods.
I
alone.
love that name. What was it? There's that name, and then what was the one from Don't Go in the House?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like those are the most.
Don't.
I'm like that's like the title. Those are titles of Goosebump books.
Oh, totally. Don't go in the Don't go in the woods. Rather, it was the body count was fucking insane. It would just like, you know how 80s slashers, they do that thing where sometimes they'll just, like Friday the 13th Part 4, great example, the hitchhiker in the graveyard. They just introduce a character and kill him 2 seconds later, but usually there's only 1 or 2 of those. In this movie, there was a dozen.
Did they do the thing that I always appreciate in the Friday the 13th movies, where the remaining survivor or survivors have to go through the gauntlet of dead bodies from throughout the whole movie?
Unfortunately, no.
Damn.
Like in the first, Gabriel, what was it, like the first 7 minutes, like 5 people get murdered? Like,
they did the amateur move. Introduce characters just to kill them.
Oh, okay.
You didn't care about any of these characters. As a matter of fact, I haven't cared about a single character since we stopped watching Psycho.
Yeah.
That's Slasher Week, ladies and gentlemen. That is just what that is.
Ian, I forgot. Don't go into the woods alone, or the alternate title, Alone! ! Don't go into the woods.
Is the ellipses still above the alone?
No, it's not.
Oh,
they
that would
took
be.
it out. That's the movie by the guy that did Jungle Trap.
Oh, okay. The Jungle Trap, dude. Okay.
It looks better than Jungle Trap.
Both of them sound like pornos.
Well, Coyote on the Run, his other movie, also kind of does. So,
like, I don't even. Like, that's like a porno you'd see in Tijuana or something. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah, you didn't miss a whole lot, but I do think it was a fun watch. I mean, it's only 82 minutes, so you're not really, your net loss and gains are pretty even, I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one actually. That one. You hear the term? It's thrown around a lot today, and I don't like it being thrown around if it's not just, but so bad it's good. That movie is definitely was in that category, I think. Wouldn't you say, Gabriel?
Yeah, I'm a little mad that you're the one who picked up a copy of it and not me, because I wouldn't mind having that one in the collection to go right beside my copy of Jungle Trap.
Well, don't worry, it's cheap.
Well, thank you, Vinegar Syndrome.
And then let's see here. After that, what was it? We had the Final Terror, which just based off the cover, it is probably not what I think it's about. Let me see here without knowing. Well, maybe. Is this an alien movie?
No. It's
Okay.
not, and it
Just based off
starts.
based off the cover, I'm like, this could be like a sci-fi kind of thing.
And I thought the same thing. I was like, God, did I put a fucking uh, invasion movie in the middle of slasher week for some reason? Like, no, it's not. It's a slasher. It was actually, I liked it, but the sad part is it's on that infinite list of movies pre 1990 that are incomplete and have missing footage.
There were some big jump cuts in it.
Okay. Okay.
But it
And
was
then,
fun to watch, and had Daryl Hannah in it in a
ooh.
before pre-splash, which was cool. Mark Metcalf, who plays the asshole ROTC guy in Animal House, was in it, and Joe Gabriel. Can you pronounce his last name right now? Because I
No, I
can't.
cannot.
It's in. He's in the.
Cipher
He's the.
from the Matrix.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
Cypher.
okay. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
all
the
you have to say.
captain in Bad Boys 2, which that's my favorite role that he plays, is the angry
Oh yeah,
police
I forgot
captain.
that that was the same guy. I haven't seen those movies in forever, and I just, I don't know if I should watch the third one.
I don't know either. I haven't yet, but I
Yeah.
love the first two.
Yeah.
God,
Oh.
so good. But
Um.
he was in it, and it's got a good story, and it had good gore, and we were just missing probably 10 minutes of footage there that would have made this a 80s staple. I think, honestly.
Mm, all right. And then after that, there was a Silent Madness. Now,
In 3D.
yeah. Now I was talking about the cover for the Final Terror. Now this Silent Madness cover might, in terms of images, this might take the cake for the year for me. Uh, this looks like Bobby Hill grown up, just had a bad, he had a rough go at life. He's living in a van down by the river. And this cutie in a red top and little white shorts, just wrong place, the wrong time.
Oddly enough, that's the opening scene of the movie on the poster.
Ah.
And the main character is Sonny Crockett's wife from Miami Vice. She's the main
Ooh.
character, and man, can this isn't a family show, right? I can use the term shit show because that's exactly
Oh
what
yeah.
this fucking was a shit show. God, it's a shit show.
It, you know,
There we go.
I don't want to say that it was a forgettable slasher because I don't think I'm going to forget it, but it definitely, I think it probably falls into that category of not a staple of slasher week, but if we ever do a 24-hour trashathon, I could see it making a resurgence there.
If there's ever 3 Friday the 13th in a year, I'll show it again.
That's the right kind of odds that I like.
There's 2 next year, so they're both slasher weeks will be on Friday the 13th.
Now, if we get 2 in one year, but that year they also release a new Friday the 13th movie, does that count?
Oh man, now you're playing with fire. I don't know. Look, we're a glutton for punishment. We're gluttons for punishment. All 3 of us are. Gabriel's seen things more than any one human being should ever watch it. So yeah, I'll watch it. Fuck it, we'll watch it in 3D next time. That's what we'll do.
Everybody get his
Oh,
cheap glasses out.
Oh,
yeah,
it
the
came with
box came
2
with
of them.
2.
Nice.
And I think I have some floating around here somewhere. I think one of my Friday the 13th threes came with 2 of them, and I used to work at movie gallery back in the day when people went in video stores, and I My Bloody Valentine 3D came out while I was working there, and I snaked so many 3D glasses. Um, when it went out of business on my birthday, that was part of my severance package, was a bunch of 3D glasses. So
All of them are mine. Nice. All right. Well, moving on, looking to the future for week
Mm-hmm.
3.
Mm.
There's a lot of really good movies. I'm particularly looking at Saturday, and I'm like, man, how many times are you guys gonna make yourselves watch all of these fucking Scream movies?
It never ends, Ian. It never ends.
Gluttons for punishment, I think, was said about 2 minutes ago. So
Yeah. The
Oh my
gift
God.
that keeps on giving. I
So
like that it takes up an entire day.
just wait till next year when there's a sixth motherfucking Scream.
Mhm.
So I gotta give a little background here on what it's talking about. If I watched Scream 6 times, I think, before we did the first episode of the first season of Fright Fest Theater, because we did it on the Scream franchise. And before that, I had watched it once in October, just a month before. So, and then Gabriel, didn't we watch it when the 4K finally came in because we were so pissed off that it didn't come in on time to show it? I'm pretty sure.
that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
So I watched it like 8 times last fall. But honest to goodness, I can watch Scream about as much as I can watch Halloween. Like I can just keep watching it. Like it doesn't bother me. I don't know about Gabriel, but
My stance on '90s horror movies is pretty well documented, I think, but it's not necessarily one that I wouldn't watch. It's just I think there's more fun to be had, and I don't
wouldn't kick it out
necessarily
of
need.
bed.
Yeah, there we go. To use that term, I wouldn't either. It's just Wes Craven's polish on it is just too good for me. I think at this point, like I don't feel worthy to sit down and watch it as much. And then I will say, yeah, hell yeah, I'll watch Friday the 13th Part 5 again. Throw that shit in and let's get some snacks. But
Coming up this week, we'll get into what's coming on tonight before we close out. But on Thursday, we've got 3 movies, all of which I've not heard of. So I'm excited. That means the potential for gold for me.
Well,
but
just
we've
like
got
Monday night, that's all Arrow video on Thursday, which is that's always exciting because they don't care how trashy something is. They will remaster the fuck out of it with a 4K scan, and so you can watch it on your TV as crisp as it's ever looked in your life. I love Arrow.
But let's see here. We got Madhouse, The Mutilator, aka Fall Break, and Doom Asylum.
So Ian, if you and I know you're gonna try to be there for all of them because you're a horror nut just like we are, but Fall Break, aka The Mutilator, filmed in North Carolina.
Oh.
It is last year during Slasher Week on Friday we did an all North Carolina triple feature, and we loved. It was like Gabriel, that was our second or third time watching The Mutilator.
yeah, I think so.
It was one of the, and it was the best time we had watching it. So it even comes with its own theme song. It's great. It's so good. It's not great by a technical sense or even a plot sense or anything like that. It's an experience everybody should enjoy.
I realize what it reminds me of, and not necessarily for plot, but just how it looks. It looks like if My Bloody Valentine was filmed at Atlantic Beach.
It does. It does.
Nerd. Desert Eagle. Hello.
It's so good. No, we are nerds. That's right.
And then let's see here. Moving on to Friday, we've got Hell Knight, Pieces, and Intruder. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but have we watched Intruder before? I feel like
yes.
okay.
Oh yeah, it's a Slasher Week staple.
I'm like that. That sounds familiar.
Grocery store.
It has right in front of Wheelchair Staircase from Friday the 13th Part 2, the best slasher movie kill.
Is this
of
the
all
one?
time.
The grocery store. Is this the one where like there's like a little girl in there as well, and there's like a shoot off?
No.
Yeah.
No. This is
I think I know what you're thinking about. Though.
This is Renee Estevez a guy in a leather jacket, the dude from Evil Dead 2, and a guy that kind of looks like David Cronenberg in
Oh, okay, the Evil 2.
You've also
Okay, yeah.
you've got Ted and Sam Raimi and a cameo by Bruce Campbell in it as well, and it was directed by Evil Dead executive producer Scott Spiegel. So it's
Okay.
and it's gory as fuck. That is a technical term.
It's an early K&B effects movie, about right after he got done doing Day of the Dead. So that should tell you about where we're at.
This movie is a slasher kill highlight reel for the last like 45 minutes.
Mm. And then
And we're not even overselling it. I think we're underselling it. If you have the means, we highly recommend picking this one up. Anybody out there, if you like slasher movies, you like good gore, holy fucking shit. Where's this been all your life?
Deegs,
that one,
pick it up.
I will highlight that one on my schedule. Saturday is the Scream day, where it's Scream 1 through 4. Bleeding into midnight with the newest Scream. And then a bonus movie at 2 a.m. going fucking all night with Silver Bullet.
To kick off the full moon, which is Sunday.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I was gonna say I'm going down the list. I'm like, oh, now we're getting into the classic monsters, if you will. Because then we'll see on Sunday we got American Werewolf in London, Cursed, The Wolf of Snow Hollow, Werewolves Within.
There could be a bonus movie Sunday night too. We haven't decided yet. We're now in after Slasher Week, which I'm not saying during Slasher Week there won't be any, but that's when we really start dipping into. We get into that second wind territory where, it's like, okay, you've got through the toughest week of the Horror Fest. Now you can throw some extra shit at the wall and see what comes out.
And then let's see, Monday is an off day, and then Tuesday. Now it's fun. I'm glad that I'm seeing this because for some reason, a lot of images of this Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from 1994 like have been popping up, and I'm just like, is that the guy that played Boba Fett? And I'm like I saw because it pops up. I'm like, hey, it's Boba Fett, and it's like, no, that's Frankenstein. And I'm like, oh,
Actually, Robert fucking De Niro, which is insane that he would play Frankenstein's monster, but it's for real.
And then this movie, I hate this movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Or Stoker's, not Stroke. I always say Strokers like it's the porn version.
That's the other version, yeah.
Yeah. But this movie, there's so many great things about this movie, but at the same time, I'm like, it's the over dramatic. It's the over dramatics that kind of kill it for me at some points, but even though it's great visually, I always chuckle in the beginning when it's like explaining the origins and he stabs the giant crucifix in the church and the fire hose of blood just starts going off. I'm like, this is ridiculously over the top, but I'm here for it.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it.
If we're gonna get a fountain of blood like it's Evil Dead 2, just fuck me up with it.
The only time it's been done better is when it's made fun of in Dracula Dead and Loving It. That is the only time I think it's been done better with the spewing blood.
It's good though, because you got I always liked the idea of what Anthony Hopkins playing fucking what's his name, Helsing.
And Hilks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like an older Helsing. I'm like, you know what? I like that. I like everything. Gary Oldman's fucking great. Yeah, Keanu Reeves is fucking like, if you get past the fucking accent, when he decides to use it. Whoa.
And Keanu, God bless him, he's become an actor that he knows what roles he can play and what he can't.
Yeah,
and that's all he plays.
This was an experiment outside of the wheelhouse. Didn't quite work, so he's like, all right, I learned my lesson. He's like the only he's like at least the movie was a hit.
And then you've got Will Byers' mom in it, so you got everything. For all
Yeah.
of you, for all of you folks that don't know the name Winona Ryder and you just associate it with with Stranger Things,
What
there
was
she
it?
is.
Wasn't there who's the guy? Is it fucking is it Carrie Ellis in this?
Is he in
Is he
this?
one of the suitors or the guys?
Is he Renfield?
No, not Renfield. He's one of the I think he's just like trying to hook up with one of the chicks. Not
That sounds about right,
not
actually.
not
That's what he does. That's his
not
thing.
Winona Ryder, but her horror friend. I think
I'm looking. He is. He's
Arthur
Arthur
Homewood.
Homewood. Yeah, he is. Holy shit, man! I forgot
okay.
about that. Look
I
at
think
look at Ian coming in the clutch with the
I think
IMDb.
I watched this movie while like I was right before I left Michigan, so I was like, yeah, watched it
It's
again.
also got Monica Bellucci and Tom Waits is also in it, which is in fucking insane. Which we wouldn't have Heath Ledger's Joker if it wasn't for Mr. Tom Waits.
I this it the only thing that I guess I kind of don't like about it is, I mean, there whenever it comes to Dracula, you know, there's always a tend to lean towards the romantic, like the tragic romantic shit aspect of the story, which look, it is what it is. It's there. If you want to go that route, you can go that route. Not my particular cup of tea. I like the angry, vengeful, I've got superpowers and I'm old and badass and I'm fucking vampire prime.
Yeah, I like the novel version. I like my Dracula with a mustache. Absolutely.
I always like what was that dude in the first Vampire Hunter D? The fucking old vampire
Yeah,
dude.
that's how Dracula's supposed to look. That guy.
Is that a Castle? No, that's not. That was prior to Castlevania. Castlevania copied Vampire Hunter D.
You know, well, yeah, but
Never
what was
know.
it? Now that that you mentioned that Castlevania show, that Netflix one, I'm like, you know what? I mean, I understand they're going along with the game as well, but I mean, Dracula came out way before the fucking game. But you know, but there was that romance angle in that in like the first season in the beginning, and I'm just like, you know what? That's fine. Because at least we're getting back to the angry vengeance part.
Can I just say one thing? We have a rare sighting of Max in the chat right now. Sir, I hope you have been doing well. Good to see you
Oh shit.
on our on our recap show here of the past shit show week, if you will.
Yeah, it was a shit show week. But you know, back to Bram Stoker's Dracula for just a second. My favorite version of Dracula, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, and y'all are going to talk about that next week in the next preview. But that Saturday, Fright Night, is a lot like Dracula, and it's a good modern retelling, and I can't wait for that because we just got it in 4K yesterday.
Nice. Well, one of our pit stops on our summer road tour,
Yep.
Fright
Such
Night.
a good movie. Damn, can't wait to can't wait for y'all to revisit it. And me, I haven't seen it in a while, but I've probably seen that vampire movie more than any other vampire movie, I would say.
I think the one that I don't know why, it's not like I actively went out of my way to watch it. It just was always fucking on. So it ended up being like probably the one vampire movie that I watched the most. But the actual before the TV show, the movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, it's so good. It's
Yeah.
oh god, I love that movie.
That was always on, you know, and then the CW got a hold of shit and made it fucking 90210. But
Although I like the show too,
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna pretend I didn't.
But the movie, I always liked the movie because I'm like, you know what, this is fucking good. I like this shit. And then her little cheerleader fucking chant or whatever. I've always had that stuck in my. I'll say that randomly, just walking around like, how funky is your chicken? How loose is goose? Now shake your caboose. And I'm like, yeah, I
And
remember
and
that.
and it's got Donald Sutherland in it.
Yeah.
Like, this is a good movie. Ben Affleck makes a cameo as one of the basketball players. You've got Sasha Jensen from Halloween 4 and Dazed and Confused is a vampire in it. It's just a good movie. That's a campy
We're
ass.
gonna have to find a reason to throw that on at some point.
Man, I
The
don't need
wheels
a.
are
I
turning
don't.
up here too.
I don't even need a reason.
But that'll bring us to next week, and we will discuss all of those of which that were mentioned. But tonight, after the show,
Mm.
we're getting Amsterdammed, which, you know, some say I've already started early, but
I don't even
Keep
know if
on
we
rocking
can
in the
catch
free
up.
world, brother.
you know, it's like well, when you stay in America, it's you're Woodstocked. When you go international, you're Amsterdammed.
I like it. I like it. Gabriel, how long have we been trying to put this on the Horror Fest, and we couldn't find a place to put it? But
It's fallen off, but I mean, as far as post Last Call movies go, it's perfect. Next week's is probably even more perfect, as you know we get Phenomena next week. But
oh
this,
man, and I got that Arrow release too that I'm just good over.
nah. Now, I don't think any. I don't remember if you watched it with us, Ian. If you watched Amsterdam with us tonight, we all got extremely drunk and watched it. I don't remember if you were present for that or not, but this is a treat, written and directed by a man named Dick Maas.
I think it's Moss.
Well, Moss means more in Spanish,
Yeah.
and
That
Yeah,
makes
more dick.
that's
yeah.
better. That's even better.
Even better.
Nice, nice.
It
I
is.
like it.
It's a giallo from the Netherlands, so
Ooh.
But
cool.
it came out during that slasher boom, and so it uses more slasher tropes than it uses giallo tropes, from what I was researching. So that's why I was just like, yeah, slasher week, bada bing.
It's like Tenebrae in the Netherlands.
Ooh.
Violent.
I'm so excited. Yeah, we should have had, you know, chicken and waffles. That's what we should have had for dinner tonight, but we didn't. Sorry.
That's a shame.
And I did an Austrian accent, obviously, since I was, sorry if y'all have any European listeners for my awful Dutch impression right there. Actually,
We do, but I don't think
technically,
Sally's here.
technically that was a good Dutch impression because Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Dutch in Predator. Boom, 6 degrees of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
There you go.
That is the most roundabout shit I have ever heard to try to justify it, but I agree with
I
it.
am so mystified by that I can't not allow it.
Yeah.
I just justified my shitty accent that I
Yeah.
did. How's that happen?
Um,
Only on the
so-
last call. That's
So what time you want to get the shindig started tonight, sir?
We have it slated for 9:30. That'll give us enough time to get the show wound down, get dinner because I still haven't eaten, and get those drinks poured. Ian, get that follow-up smoke ready to roll. Or it might already be rolled. You just got to be ready to roll. Boom. And let's get together and watch some Amsterdam. I've been waiting for to be able to talk about this with everybody, so I'm hyped.
so you want to read a synopsis or anything, or just let them just
I think the
Going
alternate
dry
title.
and hard.
ooh.
I think the alternate
That
title to
sounds
this was the
painful.
Canal Killer. So your comment
Canal
there
Killer.
makes it even worse. So, yeah, the killer in this movie uses the canals of Amsterdam to target its victims.
You said
I
its
mean-
victims. That's a very Dr. Loomis approach
Mhm.
there.
If
Going
you
in
say
raw.
so.
I mean, that sounds like a solid plan. I mean, the canals are right there. Fucking use it. Makes sense to me.
He could pose as Mickey whatever, Aqueduct Security.
And unlike New York, I got that reference. Very good. Unlike New York with Jason Takes Manhattan not wanting the I Heart New York with Jason chopping through it. The Amsterdam Board of Tourism sponsored this movie, so
So
there you go.
Amsterdam better than New York City?
they didn't give a fuck. It's like they're still gonna come. It's like we got all the weed. Everybody's gonna come. I mean, nobody gives a shit now, but
I was about to say that. Well,
but back in the
These are
day,
not hash brownies.
they still have the red light district though.
Oh, totally.
You can
I
go to
mean-
Club Vanderseks.
That's right. That's another year. How many Euro
I mean,
trips?
I can go like
references
10.
will
I
we
can go to
make?
Dixie Highway like 7 minutes. Anything you can find at the red light district, I can find over on Dixie Highway.
Fair.
It just doesn't look as nice. It smells way worse. So I think that's all that I got for tonight. Chandler, thank you for joining us as always.
I enjoyed it.
Yes. Gabe, do you got anything you want to do or say before we head out?
Chandler, where can they find you on social media?
Oh my
yes.
God! If you're so inclined, you can find me. You can find me and Gabe at _distorted_reality on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter at FrightFestPod and on Facebook.com/TheDistortedReality. And then if you're a podcast listener, which I hope you are if you're listening to this show, you can find Fright Fest Theater on Spotify and on Podbean currently. Soon Apple Music. We're still working on it. They are just so you know, when y'all go that route, they are a pain in the ass to deal with. Apple Podcast are just letting you know. So we're working on that, and soon very soon, probably sooner than Apple Podcast, will be on Google Podcasts and a couple of others. We just debuted season 2 on Monday. We're starting with 1 out of 6 episodes on Halloween, on the original Halloween. We had to divide it into 6 parts. So please check that out if you like Halloween. The first episode's kind of an introduction to the movie, and then next week we jump right into the meat of the movie, and we're really excited to share that with everybody.